So news has come out that Donald Trump may have found a replacement for his attorney general. That's, of course, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, whom he fired earlier for recusing himself from the Russia probe. Now, according to the Washington Post, who reported on this first, former Attorney General William Bill Barr, who served as the nation's top law enforcement official for the later part of George H.W. Bush's presidency, the late George H.W. Bush, of course, which I have to mention that right now the news is essentially fawning over. Lovely. Now, this guy is now Trump's leading candidate to permanently replace the ousted Jeff Sessions. Now, Barr, if nominated and confirmed, would replace acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, who, Whitaker, of course, as we reported before, is a gigantic critic of the Mueller investigation and has also called for investigations into Hillary Clinton. Now, here's the thing. What you're seeing right now from some corporate media is how, oh, this is a great pick for bipartisanship because he's a well-respected member of Washington. Well, okay, let me give you an example. This is in the Post article. Administration officials expect Barr's nomination would be received positively by Republicans who respect his experience and Democrats who would likely view him as an old-school GOP lawyer with no particular personal loyalty to the president. Now, look, I guess if you're talking personal loyalty to the president, well then, I don't know. You know, you could make an argument that, well, if you support a candidate, because, okay, Jeff Sessions was the first guy to support Donald Trump. Now, you're not going to be shocked to find out that William Barr also was a Trump supporter during the election. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they have a loyalty to President Trump, but then again, you could look at maybe it's not so much loyalty to the person, but loyalty to the ideals and to the policy prescriptions set forward by Trump and the Trump administration. And when you're taking that into account, oh boy. But anyway, now I want to read some more of this Post article that quotes somebody named George Terwilliger. Now, he is the number 2 official, or was the number 2 official in the Justice Department when Barr was Attorney General. So not biased at all. Oh, no, I worked under him, right? He said that Barr would bring, quote, 40 years of high-level experience, both in government and in business, which gives him a perspective that fits many of the administration's priorities. So, look, he's got a corporate background, which, of course, corporate Democrats and Republicans absolutely love. Oh, he's pro-corporate. He's pro-business. Oh, we love that in our politicians. Great. We'll love that in our Attorney General because he's always going to rule in favor of our donors. Lovely. Now, I want to give you another quote here from Terwilliger. He says, I have no way of knowing if the report that he's leading candidate is accurate, because right now it is speculation. But if he was, because of both his government and corporate background, he would enjoy widespread support both in and outside the legal community. Oh, look, widespread support. Let's get bipartisan Democrats. Let's approve this guy. Yeah, no. Because, of course, he has to be vetted. And when looking at his record, as I said before, do you think Donald Trump is going to pick an attorney general that is in favor of the Mueller probe? Well, let's find out. According to HuffPost, Ryan J. Riley, who did an excellent report earlier today, Barr has been a critic of both Hillary Clinton, James Comey, and the Mueller investigation. Oops. You know, that's the perfect trifecta when it comes to Trump appointee for Attorney General. That's exactly what Matthew Whitaker was as well. He had the trifecta. He wanted to investigate Hillary Clinton. He was against the Mueller investigation. And, of course, was in favor of firing James Comey. Same thing. What is the difference? They slap a nicer face on it. That's what it is. Oh, well, he's got 40 years of experience. And he served in the late George H.W. Bush. Because obviously what we have to do now is lionize everything that George H.W. Bush did. And if it's negative, bury it. As they are burying George H.W. Bush right now. So they're trying to sneak this in, I think, under that whole lionized, whitewashed George H.W. Bush thing. And it is pretty sickening to me. Now, Riley also writes that late last year, after Trump called on the Justice Department to investigate Hillary Clinton, Barr told the New York Times that there was, quote, nothing inherently wrong about a president calling for an investigation. Yeah, into his political enemies, even though they did nothing criminally wrong. Now, they did things that were obviously not the smartest, like keeping a private server in the basement and having emails that might have been classified or could have possibly been classified, possibly being intercepted. Yes, that is a problem. That is a severe lack of judgment on the part of Hillary Clinton. And by the way, Ivanka Trump as well, because now she's doing it. But in a criminal investigation, on what? On what? Look, if the Republicans could find something to go after Hillary Clinton on that's criminal, they would have went after her on it anyway. And I actually, if it was an actual serious problem, an actual criminality, I would actually support it. Unlike partisans, I actually care when you do crime, and that it doesn't matter what member of a party that you are. Let's go after them. But this, of course, Trump going after Hillary Clinton, that right there would be extremely partisan, because he ran a campaign on, oh, crooked Hillary, and lock her up, lock her up. You see what I mean? Now, he does add a little bit of a caveat to it. He says, quote, an investigation shouldn't be launched just because a president wants it, even though I do believe we should investigate Hillary Clinton. Well, why? Why? Well, Riley notes that the Barr told the Times that he saw more of a basis for investigating Clinton's involvement in the Uranium One deal as Secretary of State than he saw for investigating possible collusion between Donald Trump and Russia. He said, quote, to the extent it is not pursuing these matters, the department is abdicating its responsibility. So he says, you are abdicating your responsibility by not looking into Hillary's Uranium One scandal. Ah, I see. Not only that, going to James Comey, Barr also wrote a piece for the Washington Post days before the election saying that then FBI Director James Comey did the right thing by disclosing that the Bureau had essentially reopened the Clinton investigation. I remember that. I actually reported on that, and it turned out that it was fake news. It was bullshit. They were not actually reopening the investigation into Hillary Clinton. They didn't. James Comey went and said that anyway. And there's, of course, varying degrees of how people feel that impacted the election. Hillary Clinton obviously feels like it massively impacted her election in a very negative way, whereas others, not so much, right? I myself think it was just one of the many things that killed Hillary's campaign, but we're not talking about Hillary's campaign, okay? At least I'm trying not to, because we have fed that fed horse. Oh, PETA. Anyway, now, here's the thing. After Trump fired Comey, Barr wrote, and this is funny, that Comey had sandbagged the Justice Department and usurped his authority by making the initial announcement about the Clinton probe in summer of 2016. So he goes to, I support Comey investigating Hillary Clinton, to then going to, how dare Comey sandbag the Justice Department by announcing an investigation into Hillary's emails. Oops. Look, here's what I see. I don't think any of this is actually about Hillary Clinton. I think it's clearly defending Donald Trump's decision to fire Comey, which Trump admitted on national television that, oh no, I got rid of Comey because he was looking into the Russia thing. And that's why I wanted to get rid of him. He kept trying to push the thing, and I was like, okay, you're done. You're fired. You were not sufficiently loyal to me by protecting me from the Russia investigation. There's more. Finally, Barr also criticized the political donations. He goes after Mueller himself, or at least the Mueller team, by criticizing those donations. Now, a lot of political donations went to Mueller. Went from Mueller's team to Democrats. Now, Barr said he would have liked to see more balance in that. So basically, your team is full of 12 angry Democrats, once again, echoing Donald Trump, because certain members of his team were giving political donations to Democrats. So that's another thing which helps him endear him to Donald Trump. Now, Barr also weighed in on a story in The Hill that suggested that Mueller's team had leaked the notion that the special counsel investigation was looking at whether the president had obstructed justice by trying to end the probe into Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn, who just flipped on Donald Trump. He said, quote, "Leaks by any investigation are deplorable and raise questions as to whether there is an agenda." Again, Mueller, witch hunt, the 12 angry Democrats. They're coming after Trump. But he's saying all those things while actually not saying them in such open terms, because at least he's savvy enough to say, well, I mean, if there are leaks, then there could be an agenda. And we wouldn't want that. And and of course, the president can launch any investigation that he wants, just as long as it's not just because the president wants it. Do you understand what I'm saying? All of this is low-key backing Donald Trump 100%. But saying things that, look, we are so used to Donald Trump just blurting it all out that we forget that there are people that use this coded language. But in reality, line up to everything that Donald Trump actually wants. He's saying the things that Trump wants without actually being stupid enough or unsavvy enough to blurt them out to where everyone can hear it. So this is why President Trump is looking at this guy and thinking, I think I like what he has to say, even if he doesn't understand it. Now, here's the one more thing about that, leaks too. Mueller's team is virtually leak-free. You know the report they just recently released? There is an entire section that's redacted. We don't even know what the investigation's about. So there are 3 investigations in the Flynn memo. Most of it's redacted, unless it's stuff that we already know that's already out in the public. It just confirms what we had already known before. So you think a team like that is going to leak sensitive data about their investigations? Come on now. Come on. Now, look, again, I think I know why his name floated to the top. Still, funny enough, reading the Post article, there was I'm sorry. This is not from the Post. This is from Bloomberg. It's from Bloomberg reporter Jennifer Jacobs. So she's a White House reporter. And she said on Twitter that there are still people in Trump's orbit who think that this guy is, quote, too moderate and is a creature of Washington. Now, all the information that I just gave you, all the context, do you come up with that same solution? That, oh, he's just too moderate. No, it comes from, I think, unsophisticated people who are used to Trump blurting everything out and not having any nuance and obviously not knowing how to hide their actual true intentions of what they're saying. Which, if you analyze this, he is saying that everything Donald Trump wants from this investigation. But this guy, William Barr, thinks investigating Hillary Clinton is more important than investigating the Trump campaign. Now, how many indictments have we had against Hillary Clinton or her team? How many indictments have we had against Donald Trump, or I should say Donald Trump's campaign? You've had 4. Papadopoulos, Manafort, Cohen, and Flynn. Oh, but Jeff, you don't understand. Bill Barr is respected on Capitol Hill by both parties. And so he should be able to sail to the nomination without a problem. But see, that's exactly why he shouldn't sail through that nomination. This guy looks like another Trump stooge that wants to help Trump go after his political enemies. You have to understand, there is no actual anti-Trump Republican. There's no real anti-Trump Republican. They can say all that they want, right? But when they line up behind his policies, and when they don't go after him for attacking democracy and attacking his political opponents and acting like a fascist wannabe, well then, how much of an opponent are you actually? And how much of it is just bullshit? See, Trump is the Republican Party. And as far as the Democrats are concerned, they need to say no way to Bill Barr. Block him, because it's very, very clear what he's going to be put there to do if he gets nominated. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.